Okay, hi, it's Eileen, and I am here today with Chris Badgett, and we are both on the East Coast of the US, and Chris is with Lifter LMS. So Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and your company?
All right. Well, I'm Chris Badgett. I currently live in Maine. I was on the road for 7 months. So the whole location independent thing and remote company thing is a part of my working culture. I'm also a dad. I care a lot about my two little daughters. I work from home and we're really into technology, but we're also really into the outdoors and do a lot of things like organic gardening. In fact, that's how I got started in online courses, is through some gardening courses that I put out for sale on the internet. But yeah, I'm a family guy, I'm an outdoor guy, and I'm a technology guy. And our flagship product is called Lifter LMS. LMS stands for Learning Management System. So you can use Lifter LMS to create, sell, and protect engaging online courses.
Excellent. All right, so before you became a dad, what did you study in the US?
Mostly. My background is actually in cultural anthropology and sustainable development.
Oh,
So I did study abroad, some in Asia and Nepal and in Central America as well. But as a person who got into like technology and internet marketing and WordPress and teaching online and things like that, I'm a lot like our users. So I have a technical business partner, but I'm more of I represent the users and I build and sell online courses myself. Before I got into WordPress, I actually lived in Alaska for a long time, and I used to run sled dogs up there, and I operated a helicopter supported tour business where people would fly up to the glaciers in Southeast Alaska. And I've managed a business there where a lot of people would go out on sled dog rides with our guides up on the ice sheet. So if somebody like me can get into WordPress and start building these kinds of products and launch online courses, I'm not that different from everybody else out there who has their own unique story.
right, right. So tell us a little bit about the gardening. Like, what was your first class, or how did you say, oh, I need to get this online?
So the gardening, I started messing around with WordPress just for free, for fun. I can't explain it. Now with all my experience, I realize that WordPress is built for people like me who are implementers, who want to be creative, string things together. I started building websites for fun, for friends. Then people started asking if they could pay me for it. I started with like $200 websites, and I've done projects in the past, like in the client services side of what we've done, up into 6 figures for WordPress. So I've kind of run the whole gamut, being a solo operator to running an agency and building products for WordPress. But through that journey, I took my skill as a marketer and a software guy, a WordPress guy, a website guy, and I partnered with my wife to build an organic gardening platform. It's still around. We still have sales every month, and our gardening courses are at organiclifeguru.com. So we launched first with our own courses, and then later we just would go find some of the best experts in the world and travel to them and film their what they were doing and what they were presenting on. And ultimately, we even spent a winter in Costa Rica and I hired a professional film crew to come down and film a 2-week permaculture design course, which is a kind of a segment within the organic gardening niche. There's this whole area called permaculture. And so we filmed a training with one of the best in the world in permaculture design in the rainforest of Costa Rica. And that's one of our flagship products. So we've kind of rolled our own courses, but we've also taken on the publisher mindset and, partner with experts who may be light on the technology skills or the marketing skills or the, modern internet skills. And through that model, we create really powerful partnerships and products. So when I say I'm really into online courses, I live and breathe this stuff.
Yeah.
And I've kind of seen it from all angles.
So before we get into the technical piece, which I definitely want to talk about, I want to ask your opinion. I come from more of a traditional advertising background. I was a media buyer for an agency in Boston.
Okay.
And one of the challenges then was to get a client to narrow down their target market. So when you're talking about this niche gardening, if somebody is thinking, do I want to set up a course? Do I want to start going down a path? Do you suggest like broad or taking it small? Because people, I think, are always afraid of missing the crumbs that, you know, our joke was two to dead, you know, like anybody that could stand on their own 2 feet, people would want as their target market. So what do you think is a good starting point for somebody who's getting into learning or teaching a class?
So the place to start is definitely in that micro niche. Often you should go like one layer down. And I'm going to give a couple tips here because I work with a lot of people who are creating courses and I see what works and what doesn't. The first thing you have to do is you have to create a not so great course. So my first time creating a course, I gave myself a challenge to create and publish a course in one day. And I did that. I published it on Udemy, not with WordPress. It was a cooking course, and I taught how to make 6 different omelet recipes. I basically had a lot of fun with it, and it worked. I got it up there. I figured out all the technology pieces. That course still sometimes sells. Last time I checked on Udemy, there was like 20 or so students in it. My next course on how to build a WordPress website in a weekend, which I launched on Udemy, I just checked and it has 20,000 people in it. That's a free course. And that has been a huge like lead generation thing as throughout my WordPress career or whatever. But I had to start with that, you know, not so great course about, you know, me making omelets just to get over that. Yeah. So there's 3 areas that I recommend people focus on. The first one is the expertise. So you can be the expert or go find the best in the world or find the expert. The second piece is the instructional design. That's like the packaging into the online format, whether that's videos, audios, downloads, worksheets, whatever your kind of curriculum design is for the course. And the third piece is the learning management system software or the course delivery system. So you have to be firing on all 3 of those areas to have any chance of success. And one of my biggest tips for people just starting out is to not necessarily do it alone. So for example, to get back to your question about niching down, I was talking to my wife about, well, what kind of course should we make? Who should we partner with? And I just asked her, I was like, who is the best in the world? Who's at permaculture? And she mentioned this person named Toby Hemingway, who's the #1 best-selling author on Amazon in the subject of permaculture. So I was like, okay, well, I found his email address. I found where he was speaking next, just 1 state away. Sent him an email, and we're off to the races. All he had to do was say yes. And then we'd show up, we'd film it, publish it, market it, and we did a royalty relationship. But it's easier to get to the best in the world in a small segment than you may realize. It takes some confidence and some courage, and maybe you'll get rejected, but it's not as hard as it sounds. But definitely the key is differentiation. Because if I just made generic organic gardening courses or just gardening courses, it doesn't really resonate with people. In the same way that, are you making courses about or WordPress, or is your community very interested in Divi? Like, so that's a layer down.
Right.
I highly recommend that niching down.
Okay, I appreciate that. And then one other thing before, and then I want to talk about Divi, obviously, but when you say like the middle piece, so we have the, you know, what's your course? We have the middle with, are you using video, PDFs, you know, audio? Like, what's a sweet spot mix? I mean, it's hard for somebody maybe to do everything. Do you say, like, just go for it with video, or if you're not good at PDFs, hire somebody and outsource that? Like, you can't launch without X, or this is sort of a bonus, people, audio, like what do you think needs to be delivered? What is somebody's realistic expectation? Like you can't just get on and, share your screen and expect to make millions here, as you walk through tutorials. Like what should people be ready, prepared to put into their course?
I'll give you the generic advice, and then I'll give you some more specific advice. The generic advice is to do multimedia or modalities. There's different learning styles, the visual, the auditory, the kinesthetic. The simple way to do that best practice, which it's generic, it's not bad, but that's a good best practice to start with, is to primarily do video, whether that's talking head, screen sharing, or a combination. And then you can take that video file, you can turn that same video into audio file, and then you can have it transcribed into a transcript. So now you've got for the people who want to read and scan. And you can outsource that work, if you have the funds and the resources. It's not that expensive to get transcriptions done and to have somebody edit a video. So that's there. But if you're just starting out, what's the most popular right now is video only. So if you're just going to do one, do video. That would be my advice, unless, you're, doing some kind of hypnosis and you really have to have audio or you're doing a sewing course that really needs to have like printable patterns that you can PDFs or whatever. So, but in most cases, if you're going to go with one, I recommend going with video. And then, of course, hosting that in a premium video hosting platform like Vimeo or Wistia.
Okay. All right. That's good. A good tip. I know Andrew, for his SEO course, we had all of the audio transcribed, and it really wasn't, like you say, wasn't that expensive. The girl that did it was awesome. She's, like you, sort of a remote expat living somewhere doing this kind of stuff, and she was great. And the goodwill for the people that really need to read because they have some audio challenges, it's so worth it. So I would, if somebody's thinking about it, I would say, or get in touch with us and we'll share our contact for that. But definitely worth it. So let's talk a little bit about the technical, because this is where sometimes people get a little hung up. Mm-hmm. I've used your product. I think it's terrific. Lifter had so many options and it was really sort of intuitive. But would you mind giving us a little maybe screen share, or just for the getting started, like what you need to know to like get going?
Sure.
And then maybe we can talk about some features that people don't know about or don't typically use that we'd like to. But before you share, Chris, mm-hmm. give us like one quick second, and I know I keep interrupting myself, like what makes Lifter different, better, more appealing, easier? Why should we use this versus all the other stuff that's going on out there?
Well, there's a couple layers to that question. The first layer is going with a hosted solution. Like I mentioned, I have published courses on Udemy, or having your own platform or your own website that you own. Now, the drawbacks to hosted solutions are either high monthly fees, or like Udemy, they take a percentage of the revenue. They recently enforced like some pricing controls, and you had to like change your prices to be within a certain range. Basically, you don't have control with a hosted platform. But I still actually publish courses in places like that more as a marketing effort, to have another, I'm in somebody else's marketplace, maybe some of my courses are there, and that gets people into my community that I would not have gotten otherwise, or whatever. So, but if you're, into Divi and you're into WordPress, you're probably already on the train of liking to own your own platform, and also the power to be able to extend it with plugins and themes and, to get custom quickly. Like I mentioned earlier, WordPress was made for people like me who are like power implementers. And it's an addiction. So that's one thing that's different. The next problem that we really wanted to solve with Lifter is the all-in-one solution. So what Lifter can do is it's for online courses, it's for learning management system, and it's for membership sites. It can actually do all three of those, or one of those in isolation. And what I mean by that is a membership site may not have anything to do with courses, or you could have courses that are a component within a membership site. So there's some nuances to what these terms mean. A learning management system gives you a lot of control over looking at reporting on students, how they're doing, checking out, putting quizzes and prerequisites in the way. It gives you like a reporting engine, which a lot of membership sites or membership software just care about locking down content and getting the sale. So we wanted to solve that problem to give people one option that's an all-in-one solution that is where you don't have to, okay, I need to get an e-commerce plugin over here to sell. I need to get a membership plugin over here to protect stuff. I need to get an LMS system to structure my courses and create quizzes and things like that. So that's the big thing there. And we also, as a company within the WordPress LMS space, have a obsessive focus on engagement. So the dirty little secret of membership sites or online courses is that 10% of people finish courses. This was a study done, I think Udemy did it, looking at their data, which is terrible. So there's like people aren't finishing their stuff, and in a cluttered world where we have so many demands on our time, it's really important to create courses that are engaging and help people get real results. So we focus a lot of our features on increasing engagement so that it helps students stay motivated. For example, like if you look at our email engagement system, let's say that after lesson 2, which is really hard for first-time people, you just know that from your experience, after they complete that lesson in Lifter, you can automatically send a personalized email to them, letting them know, congratulations, you made it through that. Watch out for these roadblocks where people have struggled in the past. Keep up the great work. We're here for you. Here's a link back to wherever if you need support or want to, we're here for you. Keep going. Thumbs up. So we took some of when I was doing more agency work, we did a lot in the Infusionsoft community and doing really advanced development between WordPress and Infusionsoft, which has a lot of this kind of marketing automation and user behavior-based things that would trigger campaigns that would trigger. So we took all that experience and brought Infusionsoft-like automation tools inside of WordPress to help keep students engaged. So that's a long answer, but
yeah, but it's a good answer. It's a good answer. I didn't actually even know about that email piece, which is great. And all right, okay, so I love it. It's awesome. How about and then I don't know if we want to talk about this now or maybe in a little bit. The premium versus the free, like
with Lifter.
Yeah, with Lifter.
So we've been on a journey. Lifter is we're getting close to 3 years old. We started as a paid-only product, and then we transitioned. We realized that we could reach more people, and our add-ons had enough value that we could actually, in marketing, they call it moving the free line. We could actually give away our core and most powerful software for free. And as a business model, we would reach a ton more people, and we wouldn't really change our economics. And that test ended up being true. Like, it only took 1 month of being free to be back right where we were, and now with like a lot more users. And we wanted to make our free Lifter LMS like fully functional, so that, part of our mission is to democratize education in the digital classroom. And what that means is, if there's somebody in an underdeveloped country who has access to the internet and they're trying to build an online course that, can make them money, we still want to serve that customer and that user. They're not really a customer. They can do it for free. They're a user. and there's all kinds of currency issues, like our $99 software may not work out well, or may be very expensive to somebody in India. But so essentially that ended up working out. So the free Lifter LMS does it all. And then we have add-ons for things like if you want to take credit card payments on your site with Stripe. Like I mentioned, we're an all-in-one solution. You don't need a separate e-commerce system. Lifter has its own checkout system designed specifically for courses and memberships. So we have an add-on for that. If you're really into WooCommerce for your e-commerce, we have an integration add-on with that. We have a theme that some people, that has like specific attention to the Lifter LMS elements. Some people want that. For people who are doing more advanced marketing and engagement, we have integrations for popular email marketing services like MailChimp and ConvertKit. And then there's other companies like WP Fusion who are building products for Lifter where you can connect Lifter to Infusionsoft, Entreport, Drip, ActiveCampaign, things like that. So so basically we have an add-on model, and there is a little bit of confusion in the marketplace in that we do have something called Lifter LMS Pro, but that is not a different software. It's just a priority support package. We have some graphic design assets like achievement badges and certificate backgrounds. And then pro members get special promotions when we launch new products or do new things. But so there's that. And then we also have a buy everything bundle called the Universe Bundle. So that brings the cost down instead of buying everything individually. If you just say, I want it all, we have that as well. So that's kind of the difference between the free and the paid. And we also have some setup services where we set up everything for people.
Oh, that's kind of handy.
Yeah. So
right. If you're not really sure how to do it, then that's great. So we have a lot of developers, a lot of people that are freelancers or have their own digital agencies. So a developer package would mean that they could implement as many courses as they want for as many different clients on as many different websites. Is that right?
The developer, so each one of the products has a personal or a developer license, and the developer license is for up to 5 sites.
Up to 5 sites. Okay. That's actually kind of an interesting niche for a web designer or developer to have clients that create courses.
I think I heard that the e-learning industry in 2017 is looking like it's going to be something like $120 billion. That's not all WordPress or by any means, but the demand for online education is so massive. I want to be hyper focused on the product, but if I was a freelancer and I was trying to find a niche,
right,
the online course / membership site / LMS niche is a good one to pick, especially when you're going business to business,
right,
helping other businesses or solo entrepreneurs make money and sell courses and create online platforms. It's amazing because like with my gardening courses, I'm a WordPress guy, so I could build it all myself, but I see people, myself included, like selling product, like courses all around the world. Like, that whole thing of like when the things are selling when you sleep, like education is huge. It's a big opportunity for a focused freelancer.
It is a big opportunity. So clearly, you'd want to integrate with PayPal or Woo, and so you would have to upgrade to, or you'd have to invest in, and I believe in investing because I believe when you pay for a product, you have a little bit of a comfort level that the business will be around.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes with these plugins or things that are out there that are free, you say, okay, I'm going to use it, but it might not, like a WordPress theme is a perfect example. Like maybe somebody built it in their weekend font, like they gave themselves a challenge and then they put the theme on the repository, and then who knows if they're going to upgrade when WordPress upgrades, and you might have a broken site. So, I believe, especially if you're charging clients, that making an investment towards the products makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. And just to be clear, the free version of Lifter LMS does have we call it the manual payment gateway, but you can still sell your courses. You could collect cash. You could send people you could request a check in the mail. You could send them a FreshBooks invoice or a PayPal invoice and get paid. And then you can click one button that then moves that order from processing and activates their access to their course or their membership. So
okay, so the barrier of entry is pretty low. If you wanted to get started, you have no good reason why you couldn't make some omelets and launch a course.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I'm a big lean startup guy, minimum viable product.
Yeah.
With the free Lifter LMS, it was really important to us, just from a vision standpoint, to allow education entrepreneurs to launch their course, sell their course, get paid, build their minimum viable product for free. So you can absolutely do that. And then, if you start making money, you can afford to get a payment add-on or, start integrating with fancier email marketing and stuff.
Yeah. All right. So before you show us, I want to ask, because I like the personal part of these interviews a lot. How did you pull together your team? How did you find them? I know you said you have more of a technical guy. I know from our earlier conversation, people are all over the world. You're not just US team. How did you find each other?
Well, it starts with, like, for example, in Alaska, I managed a company there would be 30 people at a time, and there are a couple hundred sled dogs, and training dog teams and working with great human beings. Leadership and management is something I'm really into. I actually even have a published book on leadership, but in that lifestyle, I've never really kind of had a quote real job. So, I have, but they're just different. It's not the typical 9 to 5.
So Chris, I don't have any pictures of you in a tie on LinkedIn.
No.
Okay.
If I go to a wedding, I have a twin brother. I actually have to borrow a suit.
Okay.
Luckily I have a twin, but, but anyways, yeah, so team is really something that's important to me. And also just this whole online course thing, I can't really explain it, but I do know that one of my unique gifts and talents is when I look at people or society and whatever companies, I see like locked potential and, opportunities for, that wisdom to come out and be shared with more people. So it's easy for me to like look around and, like I'm saying, if we're looking at permaculture, I can see somebody who's like an expert. I'm like, if they just had like just some basic marketing and internet competency, this thing could blow up. When I look at people on a team and I see like, oh, wow, there's a lot of development talent there, or there's a lot of design talent there, or there's a lot of marketing talent there. I'm one of those guys where I'm going to build a team that is very different. Like the people in there, I don't want carbon copies of me. I'm looking for like really unique people who love what they do, who are, have highly developed skill sets and that sort of thing. So it all started, like I said, with starting to sell $200 websites, realizing, hey, I'm a WordPress guy. Selling something to a client and then be like, oh, wait a second, I can't do this with a plugin. I'm going to need some help. So I can either try to figure out how to program overnight, or I can hire a developer to help me. And then over time that just evolved. My business partner was originally, I hired him as a developer. Later he hired me and his company as a project manager, and it just goes back and forth. And then ultimately we end up just building a team of people who have different specialties.
Yeah, that's great. So I think the takeaway for people who are maybe working in isolation in their home offices or their small rented space or whatever is definitely you've already got you. So get somebody different, like Andrew, very different from me, different skills. And also like it doesn't have to be like in the guy in the cube next door, or, like throw your tentacles out there, because there's lots of people out there who need what you have, so in and out of Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups or whatever, forums, and yeah, that's great. Okay, let's get our tutorial, our overview.
Awesome.
I like to call this like the docent tour. If we're in a museum, the behind the scenes.
Right. Well, this is just a really simple sample site. I've got like 3 courses here, and you can see like this is a course description. This particular user is logged in and allowed in this course. So I can come in here, I can go into a lesson.
Is it crossed through because you technically already finished that module?
Yes, I've already completed that one.
Oh, I like that.
So I've actually already completed this course. So this one's done. So, this lesson, to your earlier comment, like this is just this quick demo. So I just put a video in there. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for the minimum viable course or whatever, just having video lessons is completely fine. Okay. That's a great way to start. Mm-hmm. If I was going to get fancier, I would add in audio. I might put a SoundCloud embed here with an audio player. I might self-host my audio and have a player just that'll show up if you put the audio in your WordPress media library. Below that, I could have text and download links and all this is just completely protected. If I'm not allowed in this course, I can't get to these things. So let me show you what that looks like. Mm-hmm. So this is just an incognito window. If you're testing and working with WordPress and especially memberships, e-commerce, and courses, you should always like test the user experience, not as a WordPress administrator where you go everywhere and are allowed to see everything. So this is that same website, not logged in. If I go to this course, you can see nothing's complete, 0% progress there. And this is what I'm talking about where Lifter has its own e-commerce system. So I've set up 3 access plans here where, I have a one-time payment plan, three monthly payments. This system also, this is kind of a membership feature where after a year, a user will automatically be removed from a course. If you have a payment plan, you can set it up so that if a payment fails or the second payment doesn't come through, you can remove somebody. And then you can also sell groups of courses at once through a membership. So this is like a membership that includes all the courses on this website, which has its own payment options of $300 payments or a one-time payment of $150. And you can do fancy. I have some blog posts about all the different pricing models and access plans you can use, like the dollar trial, the free trial, the payment plan. There's a lot of interesting places you can go with pricing. I recommend keeping it simple and don't get into like payment plans if you don't have recurrent or let's say like monthly lifetime stuff, unless you have recurring value that gets greater over time.
Right. This is a little sidebar. Did you build this with Beaver Builder?
No, this is a website. This is a very plain website that's using the Lifter LMS theme called Launchpad. Okay. And just Lifter LMS, and that's it. So when I first launched Lifter LMS, it will work with any theme. And we used to have our demo at the very beginning, we started with Genesis, but people use all kinds of themes like Divi's a popular one, Genesis and all the Genesis child themes. Yeah. There's some free themes on the WordPress repository like Make that people use a lot. I mean, I see like hundreds, if not thousands of themes that people use. It's amazing.
Okay. Yeah.
How many themes are out there. But these are just a couple membership levels. And it was actually Andrew who asked a question in the Facebook group, the Lifter LMS VIP Facebook group. And I was like, I'm going to make a video about his question because if he's asking that, more people are going to ask that. And I basically showed how to create uh, a page, like a members only page. So let's say, for example, that you wanted to have a membership level that was, you get all the courses, plus you get access to like private coaching. And that private coaching needs to have the ability to schedule calls. You could restrict it. You could have a page that has the method of scheduling the call on it or a link to it, and then protect it by a membership. So I went to this club page here, and I actually got redirected to this membership sales page, which is you must belong to the club membership to access this content. Whereas if I'm logged in and I'm in that membership, then I can access this page. So that's more of a traditional like membership site software feature.
Yeah.
Where you're just locking down pages. It's not necessarily about courses.
So would this have to be hidden from the search engines, or it doesn't matter because you can only get into, you would get that other page locking you out?
The way it really works is search engines don't like pages. Like, so if I go to a lesson, these lessons are locked down unless you're logged in and allowed to see them. And because of that, Google's not going to index it.
Okay.
Because, it doesn't like, it likes things that are open. So if I have blog posts and stuff, it's going to index that a lot.
Right.
These pages that are, restricted access don't get indexed.
Okay. So nobody has to worry about that piece.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is great.
And I have seen some people, like, they actually want the opposite. They want all their lessons indexed to help build their SEO, which I'm not sure if I've seen, and I could say with 100% certainty how to do that, but a lot of people do things with like the Yoast plugin to get more, to tell search engine things that, it may not see as there because it's blocked.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So if I can go, maybe I could show some backend features.
Yeah, I would love that.
So I'm just going to go into the back here. So when you install Lifter LMS, you have kind of this area. There's Lifter LMS courses, memberships, engagements. We were talking a little bit about email engagements. There's certificates, there's achievements. And if I go to, let me just show that real quickly on the front end here. If I go to my student dashboard, you can see as a logged in user, I have this dashboard. I can see my progress. This is actually on a different site I jumped over to, but you can see how I'm doing in these courses. I can jump back into them. I can see my certificates. This one's not like super well designed, but that's a course that I've completed, and I can see some membership stuff. I haven't earned any achievement badges yet, but those will show.
Gotta get on it, Chris.
Yeah, I need to work. So that's what that stuff is in terms of engagements. And these are just the areas where you would build these types of things. So this is like a health and fitness engagement, where I'm, have a certificate background, and we have merge fields. So this can say like Chris Badgett, and the date completed and that sort of thing.
Why don't you show us how somebody would add in a course?
So courses are super easy. Let me show you the finished product, and then I'll show you how easy it is to start.
Yep.
This area here is this course outline is the course builder. So I can, start adding new sections and lessons. Once I have them, I can move them around, reorder things. These little icons here show me just a quick visual, like, yep, I've got a quiz on this lesson. So that's part of an LMS feature that isn't really a membership site feature, where you can have quizzes. So, but basically this is really cool because this is like the command center for the course. I can see the whole course architecture. If I want to go over and edit this lesson, I can start, messing with that over here. I can put prerequisites, add drip content, add a quiz.
What would be an example of drip settings?
The classic drip would be, you can make something available on a specific date.
Right.
After a
Gotcha.
course. So a lot of times, like in the spirit of engagement, which we always like to talk about, one of the things that causes people to fail a course is they get really excited, they get in it, and then they start clicking around on all the lessons, and then they just get overwhelmed and they explode. So drip content is where like you only get one lesson a day or one lesson a week or whatever,
right,
is a focusing tactic for the course creator to try to keep and maintain focus and forward progress. So that's what drip is all about. And prerequisites are a situation where I'm not going to give you the advanced training until you've gone through basic training. So
right,
you can only start this course after you've completed the beginner course, that kind of thing.
Right. So what do you think the pros or cons of the drip? Because I can go either way. Like I get it, like once a week there's a new module, or like I'm all about learning whatever and I just want to power through. So if somebody's like deciding, okay, I'm going to launch a course, do you have any, like if your course is only 4 modules and they're only 20 minutes each, like 6 omelets, maybe you want to just do it all in one. Like do you have any sort of delineators or benchmarks for having a drip versus just letting it all be wide open?
Absolutely. So in the Lifter LMS settings, we've got some banner ads here, whatever, but I actually have these 3 course blueprints that people can check out. One of those is called the process driven course, or the behavior change, or the third one is a resource course. So if I just want like some recipes for, my omelet course is called the Poet Omelet Method.
Are you regretting telling me about the omelets?
No, the last time I was on a podcast, somebody
okay.
And then they brought it up on screen, and there's a picture of me like making omelets, and we really got into it. But no, I'm happy to share it because that's where I started.
Yeah.
And but that's a resource course where you should actually probably learn the basic omelet first.
Right. Crack an egg.
Yeah, like the cheese omelet or whatever. And then you can get into the fancier stuff.
Right.
But that one doesn't really matter. Like drip content, not that useful. If I'm trying to teach you like how to get in shape for your first Ironman competition, I might be more concerned of like, we're not going to get into like the advanced training around your 20-mile training runs and things like that. We're going to start with like how to tie your shoes and how to prevent blisters. We don't want you getting distracted with like the section 5.
Right.
So that's more of a process or a behavior change course where drip content might come in handy.
Okay, I love that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. But then in terms of creating a course, it's super easy. You can just add a course here. You give it a name like gardening course. And then, that just kind of gets things going for you. Then you kind of come down here, and where are we at? Is it up here? There it is, course outline. And I can add a section, introduction, and then I can add a new lesson to that one. And then I can, I can go ahead and put my first, Vimeo video link over here, and I'm off to the races. And that's how easy it is to get started. And some people, I'm all into like learning styles.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some people who can be very organized and structured, and they want to build the bones or the outline at first. Mm-hmm. Or some people a little more loosey-goosey creative, and they're like, well, I'm just going to start with lesson 1 and see where it goes. I don't even have my instructional design figured out yet, So you can do both ways, and they're both okay. One's not better than the other.
Right, right. Yeah, I was thinking about that actually, because it's sort of like people who do wireframing versus browser design, and people are very passionate about whatever they choose. And at the end of the day, you come up with a website. So
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. But this is good. I really appreciate, now we just have lesson one, but the tree, it's very visual, so you can see right where you are and what's what, and the dragging and dropping. Because when I did my course, I said, maybe this is before that, and you're not like committed to reworking. Like back in the day, I'm sure you remember with WordPress when you had a child theme or a child page and you had to number it, and like there's none of that. It's just really seamless.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you can create quizzes and stuff. Let me see if I can find this quiz here. I think it was on lesson 2.
And do you think quizzes are important?
There's 2 ways to approach quizzes. One way is like there's people using Lifter LMS to build like mandatory continuing education requirement. They're certified by some kind of board.
Yeah.
And they need people to like pass with like 90% to get their continuing education credits and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's one way to use a quiz. Like you can't complete this course, which means you can't get the certificate or whatever until you pass something. So we have like number of attempts, time limits, passing grades. Or the other way to do it is just, I don't really care about any of that. I just want to reinforce learning.
Right.
And at that point, you might not even have like a required passing percentage. They can take it as many times as they want. But it's there to reinforce learning. And there's also a trend I'm seeing. I call it the micro quiz, where it's just like one question at the end of the lesson that's just like the most important thing, like just to reinforce the most important concept from that lesson. It's not like a 100-question quiz that's going to give somebody heart palpitations. It's just like, you can have fun with it. You don't even have to call it a quiz. You can call it a challenge. You can mix it up. So this is a more advanced lesson in that, there's a video, we've got images, we've got some downloads here.
Oh, great. That's nice. Is that lesson worksheet a graphic that's built in? I know you said that, what is it, the Pro, or there's some part that has some graphic capabilities, or was that just an image you put up on your own, that little book?
That is actually a graphic that comes with the Lifter LMS Pro graphics pack.
Okay, it's pretty.
Thank you. So we have like some themes. So there's a whole bunch of graphics that go with that theme, and then a certificate background that goes with that as well.
Okay, I like that. So that's an add-on.
Yeah, that's Lifter LMS Pro.
All right, that's cool. So for the people out there who are feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't, there's like so many elements, you've got it covered. You thought of a lot.
Yeah. There's a lot going on here. And I actually have I just passed that.
Oh, congrats.
1-question quiz, but I have a video on YouTube about like how to build your first course in like 8 minutes or something like that.
Okay.
So if people are feeling a little overwhelmed, I would just say start with like a 3 or 4 lesson course. Just get the videos in there, and then, you can get fancier with quizzes and drip content and email engagements. We should probably look at that too, just to get the concept of engagements down.
Yeah, I like that option a lot.
So this is engagements are 3 things. There are badges or achievements, certificates, or these emails. So let's look at this Stay Strong email. There's a triggering event, and this is what I'm saying, like this is sort of thinking, this takes thinking out of the Infusionsoft community or the marketing automation community and brings it into the learning community. Mm-hmm. But let's say a student purchases a course, the health and fitness course, like which course, that one. We want to send an email, not give them a certificate, not give them an achievement badge. And then this is like a specific email that was written, and we want this to come one day after the triggering event. So I think one of the most important things to get the mind thinking about engagements is, well, what are these touch points where you can trigger these engagements? new user registration, enrolls in a course, purchases a course, completes a lesson, I think is really the most interesting one. Completes a section, completes a course track. This is where you string a bunch of courses together to create a degree program. Mm-hmm. We've got membership, enrollment, and purchase, and then we have an add-on for Gravity Forms where people are doing kind of fancy things inside of lessons. So that's another engagement in and of itself of somebody completing a form. But yeah, those are all the behaviors inside your system where we're trying to solve that problem of helping keep people engaged, keep them having fun, keep them motivated, and that sort of thing. So that's what engagements is all about.
Yeah, I love that. And this is like to your point of maybe somebody who's, living, I don't know, on the road for 7 months might be a lot for somebody, but you can, if you create this, it is like you say, earning money while you sleep, and setting it up, and people just every day get their, do your workout or omelet of the day or whatever you have going on.
We use the word scaling the human touch with robotics. It's kind of fancy way of saying it. And then another thing that makes it different is just for a learning management system is reporting and intelligence into what's going on is important. So there's not a lot of data in this particular one, but it's through this reporting, and we actually have a new feature rolling out very soon, either this week or next week, where we're bringing in a bunch of advanced reporting where you can look at all kinds of interesting things, like what people did on certain quizzes, which badges they've earned. So if you're like a owner of a platform and you want to like look at a particular student and really drill down to like where are they at, where are they stuck, what have they done? Yep. We've got a bunch of awesome reporting features coming in here soon too.
So I know we're pressing up against our allotted time, or I'm pressing up against the time. What else is coming out that we should be excited about or looking for? I mean, I feel like you've thought of everything, but
Well, I think we had recently a big Lifter LMS 3.0 release where we essentially we rebuilt from the ground up these access plans and the ability to for people to create any pricing model they want and to have a bunch of automation, like where if we've got credit card payments rolling on a monthly subscription, that if the payment fails, all these different things can happen. But that was really focused on e-commerce. So we've kind of gone through that chapter and really put a lot of attention there. And the next chapter, just like this reporting feature, is all about the learning aspect. Right. So Lifter LMS has 4 components. It has the LMS part, the e-commerce part, the membership part, and the engagement part. And right now we're really focused on the learning management system part. So things like assignments requiring manual grading, different question types for our quiz, the continuing to invest in that reporting. Those are areas that we're really focused on right now, but we often, it does a lot. So we have to share the love between those 4 areas.
Right.
But that's what's coming.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's really exciting. So we have some Divi power users that are using Lifter LMS. Andrew and I use it. Melissa Love uses it. Michelle Noonan. Do you have? Are you anything to tell the Divi community about integration or ease or stumbling blocks or anything that we should know?
Well, the first thing I would say is I'm just grateful for the Divi community. So whenever someone comes at me with a Divi question, like I literally, no exaggeration, get like 100 emails a day with like questions about does it do X or does it work with X or whatever. And if somebody starts talking about Divi, I'm like, you got to join the Lifter LMS VIP Facebook group. There's some Divi power users in there, like the folks you mentioned. And I know they're building great things. I think I saw, was it Melissa Love who just recently launched her course site?
Yeah.
With Divi, and it's beautiful. beautiful, gorgeous. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. So, yeah, I mean, that's the main thing I would tell them is like, there's definitely a tribe of power users there that are using Lifter and doing great things with it. And that's really the awesome thing about Divi is that, like I mentioned, with WordPress being built for power implementers, like Divi in the hands of a skilled operator, it's amazing what they come up with. And with Lifter, I know Melissa has a plugin that helps integrate Lifter with Divi. When you connect that concept of a page builder with the functionality of Lifter LMS and like bringing the great design from something like Divi, that's where it gets really beautiful. But people have to peel back the layers because you have hosting, you have the LMS software, which mostly for us is more about functionality than design. I mean, there are some design elements, but then you need a theme. So a good looking theme is going to bring the good design. And then you bring in the page builder, which gives a lot of raw power to the non-technical user or the person who's like looking for efficiency.
Right. All right, Chris, this is awesome.
Well, thank you.
You really, this is impressive. I use it, but like I said, there's definitely features. Are there any other sort of hidden features that, people are underutilizing or that you want us to know about?
I think not really. I would say the main thing is just to really don't just build a course, really spend some time thinking about engagement.
Yeah.
And how to get that completion rate up.
Right.
We have this is the Lifter LMS demo site here.
Mm-hmm.
And these are like real courses. And this one here, how to build a learning management system with Lifter LMS. This is the walkthrough of all the functionality of Lifter LMS. So I highly recommend you check that out if you want to see like all the details of what Lifter LMS can do. There's tons of videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And these have recently just been updated with the release of 3.0. So
good.
These are very current.
Okay.
I've also got something special for the listener here.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
It's all right. So I have a paid course here. I mostly just built this to show people. Let me get to it in an incognito window here. To really just demonstrate the e-commerce functionality of Lifter.
Okay.
But this is a real course about some 6 high-level things, more for the entrepreneur, not like how to use the tool, but like how to become a successful course creator based on my experience and what I've seen with countless users and custom clients as well.
Great.
So I'm happy to give this away for free. I've set up a coupon. The coupon code is just the word elegant. So if you go over here to get the course Beginner's Guide to Building Successful Online Courses and enter the coupon code elegant, that will give you 100% off. And there's just some good concepts and ideas in there. And my main goal is just to help people who are trying to build an online course be successful, because there are a lot of moving parts. And if you can take away just one good idea to save you a bunch of wasted time, energy, or money, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's like, maybe to go back to the browser builder, or it's, spending a little time before you get started is really, really valuable in these situations, because as you know, learning is different for everybody, but there needs to be some sequential value. So just because you maybe thought of the last class first doesn't mean that that's really the best place to start. So spending some time knowing what you're getting yourself into and how you can best help your audience, because not only is your user's not going to finish the class, you may not even finish building the class. Or you may build it and everybody thinks that you're not the expert and they're not going to take your next class. So it's really worth investing some time. And that's a great offer. Thank you very, very much. People are going to love that.
Absolutely. I say I use a lot of pen and paper. Like, take some time and get away from the internet, especially if you're going to teach or build a platform.
Yeah.
And really just think about it. Like yesterday I was at a coffee shop, and I have I was just redesigning the layout of some things I'm going to do with the demo, but I was like, I started messing around in the browser, and I was like, wait a second, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to get offline, and I'm going to like think about the problems I want to solve here, and then I'll come back to the tools.
Yeah, it's great.
So it is a good thing to do. And I've also got, if anybody's interested in getting any of the paid stuff from Lifter LMS, this is the Universe bundle we were talking about, where you get all the products made by Lifter LMS, or you want a payment add-on, or one of these other integrations or add-ons. I'm happy to give out a 20% off coupon, which is the same coupon code ELEGANT.
Okay. That's awesome. That's really, really enticing, especially as people are getting towards the end of the year and they need to make investments in their business. This is a great one.
Absolutely.
Chris, it's been such a pleasure meeting you.
It's great to meet you, Eileen. We're not that far away. Maybe we'll meet in person one day. So.
I know, because we like to hike. Have you ever done hiked Mount Washington?
Yeah, I just recently did that actually for the first time on my birthday.
Oh, you did? That's a great birthday thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple years ago we did it as a family. My husband was really pushing the metaphor of, you climbing up the mountain and then you have to get back down, and as they headed off to college, to take away, you're stronger than you think you are, and all of that. But we laugh now when we see cars that say this car climbed Mount Washington. Right?
Yeah, that's good. I think that would be a good parting note to leave it in that, when we get involved with all this technology and online education, it's like really important to get out there in the real world and get offline and do stuff like that. So that's another pro tip for people. So.
Right. That's great. Okay, I'll let you get on with your day. Thank you so much. And thank you for those coupons.
All right. Thanks for having me, Eileen.